No, it's no filter.
No rules.
Okay.
Listen, Muggsy, if you want to
No
drop an
filter.
F-bomb.
Yeah.
Oh!
Well, we're live on Facebook, so that's perfect
Maybe
intro.
not.
Yeah.
Then we're
on Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's just for the, and then later we'll release an audio recording of the actual podcast.
Okay.
So no telling who's listening to us.
I
huh?
mean, you don't
Yeah.
know. Listen, we already sent out alerts. We already said the Bogueses got the wrong night.
You did not.
We did not.
You did, okay.
No, but I just did just now.
See what she did? See that? Welcome to my life.
I thought I loved you.
All
Can I
right.
tell you I had a
wife's
heart
fault.
attack? I had a heart attack when I thought, I'm like, thank God it was your fault, not because I was like, did I give her? I would obviously so much rather it be your mistake than mine.
Oh, wow.
It was hers.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Well, I mean, don't you prefer
Good?
it? No, come on.
No. I
Because
really
you would be
told
mad-
him it was
so mad
his
at me.
fault. Because
Well, that's true. Let's just play
he
Let's
always
pretend.
screws up. I'm always on time.
Wow.
That's why it was funny that he said that when we walked in.
Whoa.
Where's Brittany?
Right? I know. It's funny because I almost did shoot Brittany a little. Like, hey, just so you know, I know how it is. Like, should I check? Like, do you help your parents?
She
with her?
manages both of our
I know. I
lives.
figured
does.
she might. Yeah.
She does, really.
So this is the weirdest beer sponsoring we've had, I think,
Yeah.
yet. So we've got Maui. A guy I work with sent that to me from Hawaii. Wrapped that giant
That
can.
big thing?
It made it. There's a 98% chance the alcohol is completely seeped out of it. It's just water at this point. And Miller Lite.
That's
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably high.
Is it 13, 14%?
Okay, great. Listen, okay. Somebody's ready to talk ABV. Somebody's ready.
Doesn't even
6.8.
Oh, 6.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. So he's red wine, water.
Children's play.
Let's go to Honolulu IPAs.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Date Night with Jake and Paige podcast.
Thanks for making it, guys.
Well,
Thanks
thanks
for having us.
So let's start there. So like real life parenting, family stuff. So can we teach you? Because we're going to open up the podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Outlook Calendars.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Look at
Is this for me?
No, really.
That was
That
shade,
was
Kim.
shade.
That was shade.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, okay. Hey, but you made it, and I mean, fire drilled it over here.
I don't know if I like this.
Oh my gosh.
Well, let's just get it out there so that the audience knows what happened. There was a scheduling snafu. We checked to make sure they were not lost, and they were actually, in fact, at home cooking, thinking they were coming tomorrow night. So you made it. We are glad. We welcome the excuse to stay out of our house longer and away from our children, as
Yes.
we have explained. So
We helped you out.
Yeah.
You're
no.
welcome. So thank you. Yes,
Thank you.
actually.
Thank
Well, I
you.
was actually home not cooking.
Oh.
I was relaxed. I mean, real relaxed.
Oh no.
And she came in there talking about we supposed to be doing a podcast. I just got back from San Francisco. A 6-hour flight.
Today?
And it's like, we got a podcast?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
you're such a good sport
So
about
I
being
said,
here.
okay, all right, who is it with? She said Paige and her
Of
husband.
course,
and
he
stuff.
hopped right up.
Paige and Jeff.
Aw.
Paige and Jeff, yes. I'm
Jeff.
sorry. I get to get this
It's Jake.
Jake,
Jake.
I'm gonna miss that. You're like, oh, that's her husband, Jeff? John?
Jeff.
Jim?
Okay, Jeff, I'm rolling.
I like that, Jake.
Paige and Jeff.
I like that.
You got him.
Yeah, Paige brought me back in.
Paige and Jeff.
Yeah, but we made it. You know,
I know.
because it was you guys, and I definitely couldn't miss this opportunity.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, no, we were excited to get you on. You know, Kim and Paige, you guys have met through the show, right? But Muggs, you've been on too, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on.
We did yoga, then we did.
Well, that's
Oh, that's right. That's what it was. Good memory.
Yes, because I got sick. My anxiety got the best of me, and I couldn't make it that morning.
That's right. So, but you came on. So Kim came on Good Day Charlotte 2 or 3 years ago, probably for the first time, cooking for Hearth-N-Soul, which we'll get to. We'll explain all about that. And I fell in friendship love with you, like ASAP.
I did you too.
Oh my god. Oh,
No, look, there's a serious girl crush happening.
I said,
No,
you're
really.
gonna love her. I
She
know.
said, you are going to love her. I'm like, so is he cool, guy? She's like,
He's all right.
No, he's really nice, but you're gonna love.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like, I love your wife.
same, yeah.
No, love you back. So we met first, and then Muggsy came on, I guess a year or two later, because
Brittany.
Brittany, your wonderful daughter, who we love and adore, and should have gone through scheduling for, I was having a yoga event, and you guys came on, and then we reunited a couple months ago at an Always Believe event.
Yes.
Nick Coaster and I emceed it. Sorry, Jake. I
Yes.
asked if they wanted you, and they said no.
Oh, that's right. You were at that event. Why were that face?
We actually
She's like, ooh, yeah, he was cut from that one.
No, that was the night I realized she was bona fide crazy.
Yeah, yes. No, and we had our last episode, we had the Harpers.
Oh,
and
that's right. We talked about the event, yeah.
Sometimes you guys, there was like 15 people in the room,
Yeah.
and you were all playing murder mystery.
And Heather Harper murdered us all.
Roman said
She was
she
the
got
best.
way into it.
She was the best.
man in the purple hat?
I did have a nice
Oh, no,
hat.
No, but
That's
Paige,
awesome.
what about when they had to tell him to read his script because he was so far off the script?
Oh.
They were like, listen, maybe.
No,
He's
I
a
like, but see, when you're an actor, when you've been in
Yes,
certain
Oh,
thank
he's
you.
an
certain
actor
yeah.
now.
movies, you kind of
Yeah,
have to
uh-huh.
improvise, and I felt like, I was doing them a favor
That's true.
by not just going by the script.
Wow.
But
We all appreciated it.
yeah, I wasn't the murderer. I didn't know.
No, you weren't.
No, you were the man with the purple hat, so you were ready to like. Oh,
He didn't know what was going on.
hey.
He didn't know what was
Heather
going on.
was really into it. She had
She
her
really
character,
was.
and she
I love
really
Heather.
played it well.
I know.
Hey,
The 6
Heather.
martinis helped. I know. Hi, Heather.
Yes, she was
I know.
smashing those
You're talking about
martinis. Throwing them back.
Oh, okay. So people who do not know the two of you, and Jake is one of those, but just in general too, can you guys, Jeff, Jeff is one of those.
Happy to be here. Date night with Jake and Jeff. Jake and Jeff. Paige, you're gone. Jake and Jeff. Two dudes having a date podcast. All right, go ahead.
Will you guys tell us just your backstory, kind of how you met?
Okay,
Yes,
I'm
you
gonna let
delve
him
in
start
there.
first, and then I'll tell you the truth.
How
Okay.
this always
This is
works.
always-
This is how it always
I
goes.
mean, the true version, she can give you probably another
Okay.
way of
I'm sure
looking
she
at
will.
it.
This is gonna be great.
But the actual truth is that it was an alumni game that we had back in Baltimore from my Dunbar High School,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the most notable
was gonna
national
say, yeah.
teams in
Mm-hmm.
high school era. She happened to come to the game with a friend of hers
So
who was
far,
dating
right?
who was dating one of my teammates.
Mhm.
And during that game, or after the game, she was so excited to see that little guy out there just doing his thing on
Just-
the basketball court,
Yeah.
crossing
There
guys,
Uh-huh.
are no
Uh-huh.
windows in here.
breaking ankles.
We're gonna get hit by lightning.
And she told her girlfriend, can you introduce me
Oh my!
to the littlest one out there?
Oh my God!
And her friend, who was dating my teammate, came over and asked, and so my teammate came over and said, my girlfriend has a friend that she want to introduce you to. I'm like, huh? I mean, okay, all right.
Kim is
I'll
gonna
go
break her neck.
Yeah, what is the
I'll
deal?
go over and meet her. I'll go
I
over
can't
and
with
meet her.
him.
I mean, this sounds pretty accurate.
He thinks
and I
he's
went over-
acting
I
right
went
now.
over and I went over and met her. So we
I was
got
gonna
to
say, you looked over
talking.
and you're like, heck yeah, I'll meet her. That's the friend?
That's the friend. Yeah, we got to talking, and then of course, they wanted to go out and probably extend their day and
Uh-oh.
get something to eat or some sort,
Okay.
and go to an event.
Right?
So I had other plans,
Oh wow!
but I
Uh-oh.
decided, okay, let me go ahead and entertain her because that's
Wow.
my friend, and make sure that.
Oh wow!
There's a lot of detail to
Jerry,
this.
can I
Yeah,
you
you made a really significant mistake letting her
She
go.
had, I have to tell you, she had on these gray
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Super
leather
detailed.
pants.
Okay.
Yes, leather.
Did you? Is that right?
She had some gray leather.
They were
pants.
green corduroy.
Thank
Muggsy.
you.
It was,
This is what, the, what, 90s?
Yep.
it was
Yes.
yes. It
Gray
was,
leather.
Definitely green
That was
corduroy.
peak gray leather.
yeah. Actually, it was 1988.
Uh-oh.
Was it?
Oh, you're right. It was the 80s.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't even 88.
It was 88.
It was 84.
It was 80. Yes, it was
See,
earlier.
I wanted to make sure. See, she don't know.
Now
It
I don't know who
was
to
84.
believe between the two of you.
Well, Muggsy is in
84,
complete
see,
control
It
of
was
this.
84 when we met. And then, of course, after that date, she just was overwhelmed with me. And,
Yeah, sure.
Oh wow! Are
No.
you done yet?
Yeah.
and then, of course, she,
Gosh.
I went back to school to Wake Forest.
Oh, this is while you were in college?
I was
Okay.
a freshman after my
Were you
freshman
at
year.
Dunbar? Were you a student at
I
Dunbar?
was a senior in high
She
school.
had just
Okay.
graduated.
Okay.
She had
I'm
just
a little
graduated.
young thing.
No,
Right.
she's not that young.
Oh.
She's not that young.
Oh,
Look
man.
out.
This is the best night of my life.
And why?
Wow. All right, so Wake
Are you
Forest.
done?
Wake Forest,
Yeah.
no, Wake Forest, because
Jake,
I'm
I
sorry.
went back to school at Wake Forest
Thinking
that
of nothing
summer.
but Kim.
That
Right.
summer, well, I had a little on my mind, but once you get
Oh
to
my
school,
gosh.
then you kind of,
How much time does he have?
once you get to Wake Forest on campus, you kind of, out of sight, out of mind.
Oh, are we about to
No,
pull up
Wake
next?
Forest has at least 4 women in it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you know about
I,
that.
do, I know about
Jeff,
Winston-Salem.
Jeff,
Yeah.
Jeff, you know about that.
What is that move?
Jake, Jeff,
Jeff. Yeah.
I'm Jeff.
and Jake.
I'm Jay.
Yeah, Jeff.
Winston-Salem. All right.
So
No,
to
I'm Jeff.
continue-
What is that move? Why am I
don't
keep
know.
doing this move?
That's a nice move.
That's the worst move. All right, got it.
Oh, sorry.
So as I
Sure.
go to summer school,
Yeah.
during
Oh
that,
gosh, we're still talking.
I find out, and during that time, Aggie Fest,
Oh, wow. Winston.
ATT, A&T.
Yep.
So that's a big part. And her cousin was she was a student there.
Wait a minute.
So
Female cousin or a male cousin?
Female cousin. So she decided
How long is the
to
show?
sneak
At least
down
4 to
to.
5
It's gonna be
hours.
at least 5 hours tonight. Yeah.
So she decided after that day, we decided, okay, we'll keep in touch, but she wanted a little more of the little fella. She wanted to see him. So she decided to come down to
Paging
Wake
little
Forest
Paging.
to visit him.
Oh.
So were you the same
Yeah,
year?
we're the
Or did
third
you
person.
come?
Yeah.
All right.
And
So you came down on
Were
Wednesday.
you a freshman?
I was a freshman.
He was fresh,
I was
all right.
a freshman.
Yeah,
fresh
Actually, I
man.
just
He was a
graduated
freshman.
He was a
year,
fresh man, right.
About to go into my sophomore year in the fall, but during
Got
that
it.
summer, you're still a freshman.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she comes down. We had a nice time for a minute.
Aggie Fest.
Aggie Fest, because I'm at Winston-Salem. Aggie Fest is in Greensboro.
Yeah.
All right.
But she come down. We had a nice visit. But when she got to campus and got in my room, she started being a private detective.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
Yeah, she became a private detective.
Why did I let him go first?
And then start to really get a little under my skin.
Uh-oh. So right back to Baltimore she goes.
Exactly.
That's what I
Exactly.
thought.
Oh, wait a minute. Then right to an apartment complex in Winston-Salem she goes.
She gets down to Aggie Fest
Uh-oh.
with her cousin.
Oh.
But she, and that all this going on, her mom don't know.
All right,
who she
time's
is.
up.
Her
Oh.
mom
gosh.
thinks she
Kim, you
in
need to jump in.
somewhere
Your mom didn't know
else.
that you went to go visit the little man?
I mean, first of
The
Listen.
all,
little fella? What did you
Listen.
call
The
him?
little
The little
fella.
fella.
he is so delirious right now. That's
Okay, well
He
tell your
seems pretty
version. Tell your
lucid.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a blessing came out of
Uh-oh.
it too.
Yeah.
okay because
A
yes,
blessing came out of it.
Okay, all right.
I don't even know where to start
I
because
don't
he's
either.
so all over the place.
Let the record show. I can run the tape back. You
Let
said
the record
you said
show.
go first. Muggsy, go first.
You did.
Well,
So
go
that
back
you
to
could
high
correct
school.
I thought we were going to bond.
Boy, girl, boy, girl. I mean, you'll see later we play catch race.
Okay.
There's a clear alliance here.
Okay.
I'm sure I can let you know how we met.
Uh-oh. He says as he sips his
That's
Dasani.
right.
Yes.
Okay, so it is true. I did meet him at an alumni game at Dunbar. I was with my girlfriend who was dating his teammate. We were waiting for her teammate to come out, and he walked out with at the time and noticed me and was like, "Bam!
Huh.
Where y'all going?"
Can you just reenact that,
That sounds
please?
more
I
like
just want, I just ask one thing. BAM!
We went to someone's apartment. I don't even know where we went that night. But the one thing I do
Yes,
know, I don't know. He was so conceited, like he was so arrogant.
I find that shocking.
You
based
don't
on
know
what
who
you saw
I
today.
am. I play ball. You don't know.
Dunbar.
I'm from Dunbar. I know you
that
have
is
to know who
nowhere
I
near my character.
You didn't
Yes,
wear these
he
gray
did.
leather pants for nothing. Don't act like you don't
No
know.
one ever would tell you that. I have never ever come off that way. So
Yes, you
I don't
did.
even know if you're serious right now because you are so
Yes.
nice and down to earth. But
No,
I
but
don't know.
he
any
said that.
person in the world would tell you, I will
This is
never,
gonna
you will
help
not
me.
know who I am.
Okay,
before
okay,
you know
I'm
who
gonna
I
bring
am.
you
You
back.
just
I'm
dropped
gonna bring you
50 in a
back.
high school game? Like, what are you talking
No.
about? You know
Now,
exactly.
I'm
what
gonna
that-
continue though.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
So it's so crazy that you say that because my uncle was a Dunbar poet follower.
Oh.
So he thought because he was a follower, I should know who he is, and that's
So
why
you
you
for real
said that.
didn't.
I
Like, you
didn't.
weren't a basketball fan.
I really wasn't.
Okay. And you.
See,
oh,
I went to the
Now
games.
Muggsy.
Oh, there he is, just spinning that chair.
I know, but
She was
it-
dating a basketball player at
Wait
high
a
school.
minute, this
Yes.
gets even more interesting.
I-
Who?
She was
I
dating
was
one of
dating
the
someone. No, I was dating someone that
Who's
was
on his
nine.
center? Please don't say it's the center.
Yeah,
He was a center.
He was a center.
Drop the
Chase
mic.
Wilkie.
Jeff, out.
So who you start to believe?
That's a
Jay?
true story.
I know.
I was dating
Now-
someone that played basketball when I said I wasn't familiar with him because I did not watch any Dunbar games. I went with my uncle, but we didn't watch any
We
games.
just happen to be the best in the city.
Oh.
Okay, so moving on. See that little attitude that he has?
But you can't help but love it, right?
You can't help but to love him.
I know.
That's it. But I can't even. I'm
So that's because you have a little
I
attitude
can't
you have to
even.
love too.
I can't even with him right
So wait, so that truly that was probably the best early origin story we've ever gotten. Then how did you actually come
Which
together?
one of you-
Because right now I'm
I
here.
listen to both of you.
Okay.
Like, yeah, okay, I like you. Actually, I like you.
So
better.
the time that he talked about the Aggie Fest, when I went down, and he said I got under his skin.
You snuck
When
down.
I entered
Muggsy
his
wanted to
door,
make sure you know you snuck down.
no, when I entered his door, his roommate came in and said, "Where'd you get all these pictures from?" Every picture and card that I ever sent him, he had it plastered up.
Oh.
Yes, see that?
And with that,
So his roommate comes in and
That's a
goes,
good
"Hey,
move.
where these pictures come from?" Right? Then
Busted.
every time he would enter the room, he would turn the ringer on the phone and turn it off when he would leave. So I would call him out on these things. That's how I got under his skin. He kicked my butt out.
Well,
But
like literally
after
back
having
to.
sex. That's how Brittany was conceived.
so
Anyway,
that's the
yeah.
blessing.
So that's
That's
the
the-
There it
That's the
is.
blessing.
That's the blessing.
You
Now
are
we're
my
here.
2 new most honest favorites.
Yeah.
On the
Drop the
podcast.
mic.
Drop
He-
the mic.
Yeah.
Yes, he got it and then he kicked me out.
Got it.
Oh my good. Keep it real, Kimbo.
It's
Yeah.
real. That's
Yes.
my middle name. I'm
Yeah.
lying.
Kimberly Jeff Real Bogues.
Yep.
You got it.
Yeah. All right. So blessing came from Aggie Fest.
That was the first visit too. So how did that phone call go down? Did you just call and go, surprise? Remember that girl you kicked out?
He was actually playing in the USA. You were on the dream team then. You were touring. You were in Spain, like with your high school. Remember you after
Yeah.
college? What was that? The dream team or the?
It was the USA Goodwill game.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
USA Goodwill
Right.
game.
Yeah.
And it was during that time where
Oh no.
a
Muggsy
lot of
shook.
stuff was happening.
Oh.
A
Paige,
lot of
what are you
stuff
talking
was
about?
happening.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in Barcelona. Sorry, I'm
I
not.
was in
I'm
Barcelona.
sorry. I'm
You
sorry.
are
Yep,
this-
I was in
She's
Madrid.
like-
I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. No. I'm
when
just
you're in Barcelona, you better not come back with stories like
I-
the same thing.
Thank you.
have a lot of parties and drink a lot of hot flam.
I can't.
Okay. Goodwill.
Okay, so you're in
A
Barcelona.
lot of goodwill going
A
around.
lot of goodwill going on during
Got
that
it.
time.
Uh-huh.
And
All on his part.
So what?
but
Oh.
again, it was, got the news that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And
Sorpresa.
it was a surprise because at the time I already had a daughter.
Oh.
I had a daughter, Taisha, my oldest.
Who was how old at the time?
She was just 3.
Okay.
She was just 3. Actually, she was 2,
Mm-hmm.
about to be 3. And and at that time, my mind, here it is, you got 2 unwed kids coming into the world, and I'm still in college, just about to become a senior.
Yeah.
Even though you're getting some accolades, you accomplished some accolades and you're having some success, but at the time you don't know where your future gonna lie.
Right.
Yeah.
And but as a man, as a young man at the time, I had to make some really rash decisions in terms of how to keep my family together, in terms of making sure that this thing doesn't spread out, because that's not who I am, and I've always been a family guy, and I've always been responsible. So after my 87, I graduated. Everything had again, things went well, was blissful, and we had the opportunity to Brittany coming
was
to the
born
world.
when you were in high school.
No,
I mean
in
college.
Oh, God.
In college.
Well,
College.
Senior-old.
A senior. He
I
was
was
senior year.
my senior year. I was Brittany conceived in '87,
Mm-hmm.
and I had 2 kids. And ACC about to start.
Yeah.
A lot of
Back in Greensboro.
back in Greensboro.
Where it all
a
happened.
lot of things was happening.
Don't you tell me you have stories about Greensboro.
No!
Oh,
No!
he's just
I
saying
was
for the
gonna say,
I'm sorry, Barcelona, Greensboro.
okay.
Okay.
Jake's not allowed to have stories associated with any city.
By the way, I've never been to Barcelona.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and it was touching because at the time we was boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
And going until March was March, and we was about to start the ACC tournament, and it happened to be in DC.
Oh.
Oh.
Basically in my
So not
backyard.
Right.
Oh,
I
right.
could go
Got
up
it.
to DC.
For both of you, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
what
Yeah.
Yep. So it was an exciting moment, and then some unfortunate news came along.
Okay.
A young lady, actually I'm in my communication class. A young lady came, a police officer came to me and came to my class.
During
and
ACCs?
Yeah,
True story.
just before the ACC tournament started, because it was a day before I had to leave. They come to my class. I'm in my communication class, Dr. Lau, and police asking for me. I go out and meet the officer, And he was really nice. He said, Muggsy Bogues, blah, blah, blah. I had to come to you personally. I had to issue you a subpoena. I issued me a subpoena for what? And he told me, you have a young lady for child support.
Now tell me who's a hoe.
But I'm going to clear that up.
Okay. All right.
So I'm like, child support? I said, my kids, my kids are in Baltimore. They said, no, you have a daughter here in North Carolina. I said, oh, I have no kid in North Carolina. So they say, by the name of Rena Norris. I'm like, I don't know nobody named no Rena Norris. So I goes back to my dorm. I'm giving y'all, I never told this story. I can't believe I'm telling this.
Yeah, because
are we allowed to say that?
I can't even believe that he's
I was
even
gonna say,
telling
you started
the story.
leaning back in your seat, like.
Because
I never told this story. But anyway,
I mean, to be honest with you, I'm like, it makes me feel good to hear him
never
tell
told
the
the
story because he's never talked about it.
This
This is
ever,
real.
ever.
This is a true
But
story.
anyway, I get back to my dorm, and I find a baby picture under my dorm, in my room. I'm like, a baby picture. I'm like, what is this? So I go ahead and call my agent, and it would start explaining. Then I had to call Kim
because it was about to be
in the paper. It was about to be published in the
And
paper.
you guys were together at the
Can
same
I
time.
ask you,
I
was
just had
your first,
Brittany.
You had just had
was your
Brittany.
first child's mom still in the picture? Or she
No,
No.
Taisha, she wasn't in the picture.
Okay.
It was just, she wasn't in the picture,
Got it,
but
okay.
me and her was still good friends.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, Kim and I, I had to explain to Kim, it's not true. Some girl is just trying to.
Can I just say, you said it's not true.
It wasn't true.
I never slept with her.
I never slept with the girl, and she was basically trying to benefit off her.
Because it was starting to ramp up. Yeah, it was
Right.
What I
starting
was
to
about
get.
to
Yeah.
possibly become.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And
So
So-
what happened?
And well, he
But
wanted
at the
to-
time, she didn't know what was real and what was true
Right.
and so
Let's
forth.
just back up a little bit.
Right.
My background is my mom and dad. My dad was a physician assistant at Johns Hopkins. I have lived a very sheltered life. So I lived in the county. He lived in the city. So
Owens Mills?
Owens Mills.
Well,
Close to,
Are you serious? That was my first job out of school.
I lived in
That was my
Owens
first job.
Mills.
That's the only thing I know in Baltimore.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
where the
and me.
Ravens do their camp.
Yeah, I lived in Owens Mills, but Baltimore, like 15 minutes away.
Yeah,
from
I
Baltimore.
worked at Caves
In
Valley.
Woodlawn.
I worked at Caves Valley, just a little golf course around
Get
the
out of
corner.
here.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, what am I doing? Why am I doing? Sorry, go ahead.
So what I love about him is that he was really concerned about me hearing the news,
Yeah.
but most importantly about my parents because he had the ultimate respect for my parents. And
Was it starting to get serious with you guys?
Well, they
and I had a
yeah.
baby.
Yeah, we
I'm
had
small.
a baby.
I'm sorry.
It was really
Yes.
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was my time in terms where I understood who I wanted in my life and so forth.
Yeah.
But again, we went through that ordeal. We got through it, and of course,
Was not his baby.
no, it was.
Did you have to,
I
like,
knew
get
it was-
testing and
Yeah, I
stuff?
went.
Yeah.
I got.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we did the blood, the swab,
I
and
can't
all that.
imagine. Did you have? I mean, do you? Both of you
I
probably
mean,
were just
literally,
like
I had
stomach
just
trembling.
given birth to Brittany.
Yeah,
She was days old, like literally.
Like that's enough to deal with her.
Yes.
Oh, you must have been an emotional.
And then I
basket
had,
case.
I was dealing with my dad, who at the time was like, because he was an athlete and I'm his only girl. He, just wanted to be
Of
protective.
course.
So it was hard.
Yeah.
But listening to him, he told me that it wasn't his, and then when the results came back,
to have that affirmed. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't mine, but
But that's when I
you
knew
had to
the
go through
hustle
that
was
process
real.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so forth and all that. But but after that, things went great. We had our Brittany. We got drafted. The weight of the world was lifted off your shoulders,
Oh
and
God, that.
you was able to.
How old was
change
Brittany
the
when
whole
you got
narrative.
drafted?
Brittany was only one.
She was
Yeah.
just.
Yeah, she
you
was
know,
born in February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at 87, and I got drafted in June of 87.
Were you drafted by the Hornets?
I was drafted by the Bullets, which the Washington Bullets.
You've
Oh,
got to be
so
kidding me.
So
So you went from
So
your
they were home.
hometown to basically your
Hometown.
hometown.
back to my hometown.
Did you lose?
Which I don't know if that's good or bad.
And then
Well, but were you happy though because you had a new baby?
Of course, he was,
You're-
of course he was happy
Yeah.
to be home and have his
Home.
homeboys and family
Yeah.
there. And
Did you play for the
It's
Bulls?
everything.
Or they
I played
traded?
with, no, I played with the Bullets.
Okay.
Me and
I didn't know that early
Malik, Moses Malone.
Oh, that's right. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then the Hornets came the following year,
Yep.
and of course, they was really interested in me. They did all they had to do to try to get me here, and Washington at the time, we had a lot of older
I was
gentlemen.
gonna say Moses would have been on the way out.
Where
Jeff
Moses on his way
Malone.
out.
Yeah.
You're in what year now?
Malone,
89?
Manute Bol.
88, 89.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
This was
Completely missed
80.
the Bullets
Well,
here.
no, this was 87.
87.
It was 87.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was, we had Jeff Malone, Moses Malone, Manu Bogues.
Manu, yeah.
And Bernard King came back from his knee injury.
Good grief, so you had some,
They had a nice
some
squad.
vets.
Yeah,
Some
we had a
vets.
nice vet, and
Yeah.
we made the playoff that year. We lost to Detroit. And then after the season was over, of course, the general manager came in and said, Muggsy, you know, balls in your hand. We're going to get rid of some of these older guys. We're going to kind of split up the offense and so forth. But that was the kiss of death when I found out what the NBA was all about. Because when I got back home, my agent had called me and told me Charlotte was really interested. And they went back and they called the Washington Bullets. And then all of a sudden, the Bullets decided, okay, we're not going to protect Muggsy. And we're going to let him be available for you guys. And of course,
So what's that like for you guys at that point? I mean,
For me,
you're probably thinking like, hey, I'm close to home.
I'm
This is awesome.
But also I looked at, because I just left North Carolina. I went to Wake Forest.
Oh gosh, right.
So-
no,
That's why I said
kind
back
of
to
going
home, yeah.
Right, right.
So it was like, it was a shock, but a relief in terms of, okay, this is another means of me going around a bunch of younger guys mixed in with some veterans trying to start a new franchise. We could be the identity of the team, and of course it was a match made in heaven for myself.
Best thing that ever
With
happened.
me, Dal, and Rex, and you know Kelly Tripucka and all those guys when we first came here to set that kind of standard, and with that, you know, with the city, you know, request in terms of NBA basketball, because at the time, you know, it was
Oh my
all
gosh.
about collegiate basketball in the
Right.
Carolinas.
Yeah.
Right.
And for it to come back in North Carolina, now it became, you know, here it is, we got an NBA franchise.
Yeah.
So it was time to look at that and make it grow. We had 24,000 screaming fans, so it was unbelievable. It was
Unbelievable. So I grew up in Pinehurst, North Carolina. You guys know
Yeah.
Pinehurst? Yeah. So that, I mean, I know the whole story from there and then how it evolved. But so would you guys? So now you're in Charlotte, and then what? So like, kind of walk us through the progression.
We moved to Charlotte. He plays his first year here, and then we go back to Baltimore to get married. So we got married with Brittany.
We got married in '89, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Back home.
yeah,
Didn't you guys split? We try not to do
Well,
too
we
much
were-
research ahead of time so that we can actually like hear. But didn't you guys split up for a
yeah,
time?
we were
and get back
married for
together?
7 years, divorced after 7, separated for 10 years, and we've been back together
Back together.
6.5 years now.
Separated 10 years and then got back together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never say
Wow.
never.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
great to be married. I hate saying that I'm married twice, but it makes me feel good to say that I'm married to the same
To this,
guy twice.
yes.
Yes.
What a story.
It's a phenomenal story.
Yeah, you know, life, it just
You never
goes
know.
in different, so many ways. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hits you in so many different times in your lives, and you know, decisions got to be made. And you know, we was blessed. You know, we're blessed to be able to be back together. But you know, during our times,
We were so young too.
Yeah,
It
we was
like-
young when we first got
That's a
married.
lot to
It
deal
was
with.
a lot
too.
to go from the projects to being a millionaire, and then I'm going from being sheltered to being on my own, and a mom
Yeah.
living in a new state. And
And
it
then
was
we
a
brought,
lot.
and I had my oldest daughter here. We had, so she went from.
So did she live
Yeah.
with
She
you
went
guys too?
from
Not
one.
at first. She didn't come.
Well, she
with
didn't
me.
come when we first came to Charlotte, you know, because I came down here to get established.
Right.
And we started in
came about 4 years
Strawberry
later.
Hill,
Okay.
in Strawberry Hill, and trying to get acclimated until, you know, that. And then once we went through that first 2 contracts, or the first 2 years, then I was up to sign my next contract, and then I signed for like 6 years. So I kind of knew that this was going to be a
Charlotte's
stable
home.
situation.
Some roots here. Yeah.
And then we decided
Plus
to
we
invest
loved
in-
it here.
Yeah, we did it. We
It was
enjoyed
really
it.
Easy place to fall in love with,
Yes.
right? I know.
And then we decided to invest into a home here. And then we moved into a home in '90, you know, because we stayed in Strawberry Hill for 2 years, and we moved into a home.
Everyone, all of the
Yeah.
players lived in Strawberry Hill.
Well, I don't
Where is
even know where
Strawberry Hill? Yeah.
Strawberry Hill
Off
is.
of
Right on
Providence
Providence Road, where
Oh,
Red Rocks,
that
you know,
was
that little-
the place to live when you first came to Charlotte.
Good
Yeah,
to
you know
know.
Charlotte
Really?
has grown
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
So we are way south. So this is like
Yeah,
we
we're
are.
in Union County. We used to be.
We
in
were
Valentine.
Valentine's.
We
I know.
are
Don't
way-
act so
Yeah,
surprised.
Yes, almost. We're Marvin. You know where Marvin is?
Yeah.
No, but it's a Waxhaw.
But it's a wax. Yeah.
We get our mail sent to Waxhaw because Marvin's so small.
I have a
Seriously.
friend that lives in Marvin.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
She was one of my clients. She just left my house.
Oh,
Oh.
we probably are gonna know him because
Marvin
we're
is that
like-
small,
Yes.
so that's
Yeah.
we're right
What's her
across
name?
the street. Yeah.
Octavius.
Octavia. Okay, I will look for her because
You know
literally,
her.
we have probably 10 neighbors, yeah.
I bet you do.
So,
Yeah.
Strawberry Hug, so you were here. Okay, and then you had Brittany and then Taisha
So my
moved in with
oldest-
you.
yeah.
And at what point did you have?
Taisha moved in with us when we moved into Providence Plantation.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, that's
all I
what
know is that
I'm-
Paige told me to follow all of them on social media. Like basically, like
Yeah.
their kids
whole
are
family's
the
so
best.
lovely.
Yeah.
No, they are. I've never met Taisha, but I know Brittany from coming on the show several times, and I don't. Does he go by Ty?
Yeah, Ty. Yeah.
I don't know Ty. I've never met him, but so our kids go to Hornets basketball camps in the summer, or have, and the emails come from Ty Bogues.
Yes.
And at one point, you had just come on. I don't know if you had been on yet, but I just emailed back like, "Hey, I just want thanks so much. The kids are coming, whatever. Love your family." And then I was like, "Oh God, he probably hears that all the time." And I was like, "I don't mean I love your family. I'm sure I would, but I mean,
Oh my gosh, so you blew it. You made it worse. And then she emailed again. She was like, "Hey, just FYI,
Never mind. I love your
I am
sister, but not
still-
like that. Wait, I'm whatever. Never mind. See you at basketball camp. The check's in the mail." Thank you.
Fine.
But
Ty.
he seems
Don't hate
and
me.
he emailed back. They just are great kids.
Ty, it's so funny because now people come up to him and say, "Hey, you're Ty's dad."
Oh,
He's
that's
done
so
it.
great.
It's so awesome.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Ty.
How old are they now? Brittany's how old?
31. I'm gonna tell you. She's
Yeah, 'cause I don't-
31.
She won't
Ty's
mind. Right? I mean,
27.
come on. When you're 31, do you mind if
Yeah.
you tell your age?
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah, she's 31. The Ty's
Ty is-
27, and
yeah.
Taisha's 35.
And is Taisha in Charlotte too?
She's in
She's in
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Oh, cool.
She's
Okay.
Doing well.
Yeah.
Raising, she got 2 kids.
Aw.
One in college.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
she's a freshman, and my little grandson is a baller.
Yeah.
Go by the
Uh-oh.
name of Fat Man. So
You're gonna
you
be
get
seeing
to
him soon.
go Google him and he's Muggsy Bogues' grandson, and you'll see exactly what
Yeah.
he's all about.
Oh, I love it.
He's a
Yeah,
player.
he's nice.
Yeah, but as getting back to when we moved back to the house and brought all the kids down in '90, and Kim went from 1 kid to 3.
Three.
Ah,
You
Wow.
know, and
That
was
escalated
it, and that
quickly.
was that was
Yeah.
kind of tough on her.
Yeah.
But she had a little help with her, even though living maid. But she,
Nanny.
I'm sorry.
I was
living
a maid.
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
You know what though? Thank you for saying that because that is not it is so hard and
It
nobody
is.
does it. We were just talking to Jake's parents on the way here
Mhm.
because Jake
Takes
and
a village.
It takes a village. We were about to go.
Take a village.
yeah.
If literally
Paige
does.
is a local celebrity,
Oh,
so
shut
it's
up.
Yeah,
really
she is. She is. She really is. She's hot.
Listen, Bogues, you're in the presence of. But we're leaving for Mexico later this week. Kid-free vacation. It's a work thing for Jake's, but it's like kid. And my parents are coming to watch some of our kids. His parents are coming to watch some. We've got it's like a puzzle,
See,
right? All working together.
Yeah.
That
And
was
she
us.
goes, yeah. She goes. His mom goes, I don't know how you guys, because we said we're on our way to a podcast. She goes, I don't know how you guys do it. And I go, we do it because of you. Because
exactly.
thank you. Because we have
takes a
so
village.
much help.
Mhm.
Yes, and
It
it's
really
like
does.
you can't do
You
it
can't do
without
it.
that.
You
Yeah.
definitely
Yep.
can. Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So you went from 1 to 3 kids. You
Mhm.
had kids growing up here in Charlotte. As you said, you guys were blessed enough to have help and things like that.
Mhm.
But there is still all of that balance,
Yeah.
right? Did you guys have ways that you sort of how you split up housework or kid stuff? Like, were you a diaper changer?
What?
Any of
I
that?
did
Well, you gotta.
change a couple.
I mean, a couple, but
but that
he was
wasn't-
gone
Not your thing.
80% of our relationship.
Okay, right.
You know, because they played
Road games, yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So really, I was like a single mom. So
Would you go to the games much? Like, did you travel? I mean,
I
did
would
you
go
get
to the
anybody
games
fun?
on the weekdays. The kids would stay home because of school, and they
Right.
would go on weeknights. But yeah, it was pretty hectic. But we handled it pretty well, I think.
Yeah, and plus we had. I mean, we
My
was
mom
our
and his
team.
mom.
Our team was such a family-oriented team.
Oh,
You know,
that's such a
me,
difference.
Dell, Kelly Trapuka, Kirk Rambis, Errol Curtin, Ricky Green, Michael Holden.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, Ralph Lewis.
That's true.
Yeah.
Everybody had
Dave
kids around the same
Hobson,
time.
and
And you're all on Strawberry Hill.
And
But
we
the
all,
whole
right,
organization, all
in
Strawberry Hill.
Were you really?
And a couple
Yeah.
guys in
Oh,
California
A
Walk.
few
Yeah.
players.
Because that was the place to be. I mean,
Yeah.
that was one of the.
But Rex Chapman, I remember he would actually go to pick up Brittany from daycare.
Yeah.
He picked her up one day and said, "That is her last day. It smells disgusting in there." And we
Oh
actually
my
took her
gosh.
out.
So he did one day. You took her
he
out?
picked her, yeah.
Oh,
And he's like,
At
not
the
my girl,
kitty
Brittany.
cat.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I
Don't
remember
say
drop-
the name. I didn't want to put
Oh.
I didn't want
Not
to
a
put
one generic name.
I remember dropping off June. I remember dropping off June. Our first call, June. I remember dropping off June, and I mean, we won't say the name,
Okay.
but I mean, the floor,
Oh, in our old one?
I basically sunk through the floor.
Oh, you guys, it was like a crowd.
And it was her
house.
first,
so
it was her, and I put
Was
her,
it a barn?
But
and I put her
no.
down, and I go,
No. I can't.
well, so that's the
Can
difference.
we kept her there?
I
Because
said-
can I tell you, no, It's because what he's not saying, and I won't say the names or whatever either, but it was a language immersion daycare in where we used to live in Raleigh.
Okay.
And you had to be a native speaker to work there, and they had like 1 star because they didn't the teacher. The stars are all based on like
There's no
teacher
like
education and
handicap entrance.
there's no hate.
Okay.
It wasn't like, but when I tell it was a Spanish speaking immersion program,
just
and it was the
put it out there.
most
Yep.
loving. No, it was because I had lived in South America, in Central America for a while, and I just I was like the culture
Got a
of
Latin
these
shit.
women.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, but we were like, but we always laugh because we're like, are we leaving our kid in like squalor? Like it's nobody. I would be embarrassed to have anybody. Like,
Did you leave her there?
Because it was.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
I put her down, and she just she didn't cry. She just looked at me and like,
As
we're
she
done
was
here.
sinking down.
No, I was thinking her crib was fine. I mean, well, the crib was like this. I was
Jake's a big guy,
I texted Paige. I was like, I might have just caught AIDS. You just said crack house squalor.
I did.
Oh, that was too
Yes,
far.
you did. Yeah, but you can't say that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not
So how
catch
long
AIDS.
did she
I
stay?
am perfectly healthy.
Till we moved.
Till we moved.
That was when we were in Raleigh. We moved to Charlotte 4 years ago now. Can you believe that?
This is really bad.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Should I
That's
actually
bad?
taste that?
It's real bad. It's straight
It's
from
a big
Hawaii.
can of band.
There's a
Bad.
Miller Lite for you.
But to
You
give
didn't
credit
know
to
that?
to give credit to the name that I mentioned.
Yes.
I mean that was over 28 years
Oh.
ago.
I'm sure,
So,
yes.
but-
He's feeling
Figure
bad
that
now.
I know.
He's like, just in case they want to sponsor me.
Because they always is a good program.
No, but you're right. I'm sure. Yes.
Yeah,
Buy
just-
tickets.
Changes.
And
Buy
seriously,
tickets.
Rex is so high maintenance. Like nothing would have been
watch
up
out,
to his
Rex.
caliber at
Yeah,
that
That's
time.
so, and that's
He
sweet though when
really
somebody
loves
cares
it.
about your kid enough, right,
Yeah.
to do that.
That's
and be
what
like,
exactly what he meant about
Yeah.
having a
It was a
family.
close net. It
Yeah.
was close.
All right, can I just give you one question?
yes.
Look, it seemed like it was close knit. It seemed like it was super fun. Am I just like being like ridiculous? Grew up in North Carolina, fanboy Hornets guy. Did you have fun with the Hornets? Was that
I had a blast with them.
okay, man? It just
I
seemed
mean,
like it was just it
Those
seemed
the 9 years that I played for them, it was it was surreal.
those teams
Because you imagine
surreal.
you have 24,000 screaming night in and night
That's what I tell
out.
her. So
Every
the
night.
kids, just humor me for a second.
Okay.
The kids are obsessed with Space Jam.
Oh.
Obsessed.
My kids do watch.
There's
Space
5
Jam.
guys. There's
The original.
5 guys. 2 were Hornets
Yes.
in
Yeah.
the movie.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's like, I mean, it was like
That's
you,
a good point.
I never thought of that.
I
you
never
can't
thought of
even
that.
describe. You can't even if you weren't in North
Was
Carolina.
that when you were playing? Was
Yes.
was
Yes.
that film?
Oh,
Okay.
it was
Sorry.
Muggsy and LJ.
LJ.
So like you can't even. It was.
That's so.
How do you describe it? Like it was like.
It was the characters,
Yeah.
you know, and we was the perfect characters to play what
Yeah.
we played.
Yeah.
How they put that
Yeah,
together.
it's like all right. So it's a movie with Jordan, and we got to get 5 guys that every single fan will know.
Yeah.
2 of the
Right.
5 were Hornets.
We're I know that's
Right,
true.
that's-
Well,
I didn't
and
think about
the
that.
cool thing too, just tying in with that and what you were saying too, is like I noticed, I guess because I follow Brittany on social media too, and was it Steph's birthday?
Yes,
A month,
yeah.
Yeah.
and like she was tweeting and she was sharing pictures. I'm like, oh, they grew up together.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
They were a
cute to
couple
see.
Yeah.
for
Stop.
forever.
Were they
Well, they're
really?
just big
Just like
friends.
little, like,
little
young
friends.
When they were kids, they thought
They
they
was
were.
like-
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And Ty and Seth grew up like
Yeah,
that,
they're really
you
good
know.
friends.
So it's
Right.
like, yeah.
Did Ty play?
Ty played,
Okay.
yeah, Ty played. But what happened to him his high school days. He felt his little manhood,
Oh.
his little young year.
Okay.
He discovered girls,
Oh,
Oh.
and
Got
it
it.
distracted him.
well, I think he came by that naturally, Muggsy.
Yeah, but I had to bounce.
Oh.
I had to
Really?
balance.
Where-
You know, I had to balance while I went to play. You know,
Aggie Fest.
yeah.
Hashtag Aggie Fest.
Your Ty got a little more where he was
Okay. We'll swag.
pursuing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Is he married?
No,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
he has a beautiful
But he
girlfriend.
has a
Oh.
yes,
He's in
that
a
I
great
love.
relationship. Yeah,
Now, who did you post? You said your daughter-in-law. Did you post a
So
picture?
we have a son that we adopted named Peter. He's 7 foot.
That.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
didn't- okay.
I'm going through these pictures. I'm like,
Yes.
they're saying brother. I
Yes.
don't think.
I said, well,
but
she
like,
has a
He's
daughter-in-law.
been living with us for almost 10 years.
So tell us
He
that.
is slightly tall.
I'm gonna let him
He's
tell the
very
story
tall.
because he actually played at United Faith where he used to coach.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't know you coached. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I coached high school for a little spell,
All right.
for 3 years. Well, you know, Peter came into Charlotte in 09, 08. And
From
Sudan.
Oh, wow.
Sudan.
Yeah.
yes.
No English. Didn't
Stop.
No English, and you
I
know,
would have let him babysit my kids.
they brought him
Oh
in
my
for the
gosh.
pressure to play the game, play basketball. And he was, the kid that just didn't know much. He was a soccer player.
Oh my!
Yeah,
At
no.
6'9".
At 7 foot.
Oh
Hey,
my
Joel
goodness,
Embiid.
Yes.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah, he was
Yep.
7 feet tall, was a soccer player. And the school that brought him here, at the time I was doing some training, and they asked me, would I help with some of the guys that they had, have use of the gym. So Peter I kind of took him under my wing. I felt, this kid needed some assistance and some help.
Such a
and,
good kid.
yeah, and I just developed his basketball skills, but then did not know that I will be in his life,
Oh my gosh.
to that degree.
Yeah.
But it just happened that way, because he needed someone to kind of give him that type of, structure. And where he was at, he also had some other help here. He had a gentleman by the name of Albert Isaac who really, helped Peter along the way and did a great job, him and his family. But I knew that he needed a little more, a little more attention, and so I kind of provided that for him. And he's just been a great kid, and just gave him an opportunity to do what he had to do, and he's now graduated from East Tennessee State University.
Wow.
Murfreesboro.
Yes.
Was that
Yeah.
East?
No,
Yeah.
up in
Johnson City.
Oh,
Johnson City.
Johnson
Okay,
City.
I was wrong.
Okay.
All right.
So now he has the opportunity to go and possibly play overseas or pursue his basketball career. And
He is a
and-
gentle
yeah.
giant.
He is.
Like,
I mean, your boy is real tall.
Real tall.
we really didn't understand with him not being able to communicate. He couldn't even tell us what he wanted to eat because
Right.
he didn't know
I mean,
anything.
not a lick of English.
Right. So like,
Then.
So what's he up to now?
speaks
the best.
three languages.
He's
now.
too
Stop.
American now. His
Yeah,
brother
yeah.
said
Oh,
he's
yeah.
too American.
No, is that his
Oh.
wife then? Is that his?
So that's his wife. They
Okay.
just got married. So that's what I say.
Oh, cool.
daughter.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
And she has like restaurants or something.
She is a boss. Yeah, she has 3 Mexican restaurants in Texas. So
How cool is
All
that?
right. So perfect segue.
Yes.
Food. So let's
Right.
catch us all the way up. Oh.
oh, sorry. I thought we were going to Mexico.
Where are we going? No, we're going to talk about you.
Oh,
Perfect
I'm
segue.
so
Mexico.
hungry right now.
Right. You
I wish I
apparently
was smart. I'm
love
hungry.
Mexican music,
I know.
American music. But no, let's fast forward to here we are today. I mean, you look like you could still play. I mean, you got the tracksuit on right now, and you just came from. You said you got clients coming over. We literally pulled you from business. So
Yeah.
sorry.
That's okay. You're not
But
sorry.
what are you up to now?
You're not sorry.
We're glad you made it. That's all that
Oh,
matters.
she just put me on blast. All right.
You've
Got
been
it.
putting me on blast all night.
I have.
Yes, co-signing everything he says.
True.
Listen, Karen.
Right? Is it true?
I have about to
That's why
destroy
it's
the
trying-
seat.
Oh my gosh! Look at that seat is about to die.
Yeah, I have a wide rear. Kim. So Kim, what are you doing now? You,
Maybe
it
you
is a-
should join my plan. I have a 1,200, well, 18 for you, 1,800
That's a
calorie
pro.
meal plan.
That is a
That-
pro.
You post those 12.
That-
I'm like 12.
So yeah, so I
calories,
have
how much?
12 clients that
100 calories each. 100 calories each.
Share one.
Yep. You got it. 12 calories.
Stop it.
That's good, Jake.
I have men and women. So the men are on an 1,800 calorie. Everybody's trying to get their beach bodies together for the
Amen.
summer.
2,400 right here.
Oh.
That's what mine is out the door too. But yeah, so
When did that start? When did you start that? It's Hearth-N-Soul.
How'd you get into that?
okay, so I used to do craft services. Actually, I used to do stand-in on HBO on a show called The Wire.
Stop.
Yes.
Stop.
Yes,
Get out
The
of his
Wire.
face. That is
Yes.
out of his face. That is
What?
his favorite show in the
Give it
entire
up.
history of television.
Are you joking?
Because Baltimore too.
See this face?
I just wanted like a 5-iron, do the
See this
Marlowe.
face?
The
Stop. So I worked on The Wire from the pilot to the end for 6 years. So during those 6 years, we're one big family. We worked 100 hours a week. We shot 6 months out of the year. So we would spend a lot of time together and working together on the set. You have to be in a union. In that union, there's other departments you can work in. I had the honors of doing stand-in, body double, and craft services.
What?
So when I did craft services, I was working on. He's not that into.
He's not that
just
into me?
not into you.
Yeah.
And Scarlett Johansson was on set, and that plays on Entourage.
Yeah.
He had some of my chilling. He went on set, and she was like, "Dude, where'd you get that from?" Meantime, we're in Baltimore. It's the winter. It's cold. He said, "I got it off of craft services." She's like, "Dude, nobody eats off of that truck." He's like,
Try this
it's
one.
good." She went, got some chili, went back to Dewberry Moore, and Mrs. Moore was like, are you
So,
a chef?
are you saying Scarlett Johansson put you on?
Yeah, put me on.
Really?
Actually, Drew Barrymore, she said, you know, if you were a chef, you can get paid more because they all had their chefs with them.
Right.
And once I was there, they sent their chefs back to California. They said, you're good.
Shut up.
So
Wow.
then, once I moved here, I had time, and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to go to culinary school, and I'm going to get this craft, and I'm going to go back and be able to offer more. And I did that, and my last client was Julia Louis-Dreyfus on Veep. So I worked there
Also,
for 2
a
seasons.
great HBO show.
Yeah.
I do a lot with HBO.
So you do like personal chef stuff with them? Like
I work with the
restaurants?
cast, and then I have 3 people that work with the cast.
Got it.
So I'm
But then you do meal prep here too.
Well,
Right? You're saying you do.
One of the things that helped me go to meal prep, one of the things with Julia, once you're fitted for the season, you have to maintain that weight. So if she's in a 0, she needs to maintain a 0 for six to 4 months, however.
My child would be so big at my first set.
But because they're from California,
If she's an 18.
Well, I'm right. So I guess
Keep them together.
no way.
She can't go above or below an
he was
18.
saying that's what I would be so that I could maintain that. I guess I have to eat cheeseburgers.
I like that.
Way to set the bar,
Yeah, set
President.
it real high. So like
That's interesting though.
yeah, so that, you know, doing that helped me when I came home. I didn't want to keep going back out of town because it would keep me away from home. And Brittany wanted to lose some weight. She's like, Mom, can you help me? And we did it, and Brittany lost so much weight. So she actually was my walking advertisement.
That was right when I first met her. She
Yes.
just
She dropped. I mean, she went from like a size 12 to a 4.
Wow.
So when
Wow.
she did that, that's how clients started. And then really just in January, all of this happened by an accident. I'm looking for a sous chef. So if you're listening,
Oh.
chefkimbogues.com, hit me up. I am overwhelmed. I'm having to turn clients down because I can't do it all by
I
myself.
bet.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
go ahead.
hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. All 5 seasons of The Wire?
Oh God, I knew it was going to be right.
I'm sorry.
Yes, all 5 seasons.
I love that was like kind of slipped
Did you
in.
watch the show too?
in
I
all-
assume, right? Did you?
In all
Yes.
seriousness,
Yes.
so Paige and I get married. So while we're dating, I am like a connoisseur. We get married. We move to Raleigh. She starts with season 4.
What? How
No,
do you
but
just
no, but like
I've never.
game over.
But I loved it.
That's the best season in television history.
It is the best season, but how do you have to start from the beginning?
If any season's gonna
Listen,
stand
I was trying to get a
alone,
man. Okay, I'm like.
yeah, and then you fell,
Okay, well
and then you
done.
fell in love with
Well
Doogie,
done.
I
and then you
did.
fell, yeah, and then,
Because that season,
Yeah.
that reminded me, it was like my middle school. I was like, this was watching my middle
Oh my
school.
gosh,
Yeah.
that's so crazy because they're good friends with my son.
Oh, stop.
Because I would bring him on set.
Oh,
so
yeah.
well, now Michael
Yeah.
Jordan went from
Hello.
early season.
Hello.
now-
How great is
Yes.
that to see?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
All right, sorry.
But doing that show was so crazy because it was so gangster, right?
Oh my,
That we
nothing
would
like it.
literally be in the hood and they would be
Would you
mad
shoot?
at us.
Did you shoot on scene?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
We had to
Yeah.
have people come out to remove all the needles and drug
And so, where are
paraphernalia
you?
before we
Were
could
you
shoot.
from the city?
Yeah, were you
Like,
here?
Yeah, from the
That's
area
where
he
you
grew
grew
up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was real
I
gangster.
bet you, and you, so do, I don't know if we've talked about this. So I'm from Northern Virginia, but my you know where Sea Pleasant
Different than
Maryland is?
Baltimore.
It
Just
is.
FYI.
But my dad had a Harvard
I'm
store in
from
Sea
Falls
Pleasant.
Church.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so I spent. I
wow.
spent all my summers in Sea Pleasant, like not in Baltimore, but
Right.
similar areas that that we grew up in or whatever. And yeah, when that was filming, I was like, that I didn't know that it was filmed on location though.
No,
Yeah.
but he would. Was it David
David
Simon?
Simon is brilliant, but we stepped on so many toes because we would get political.
Right.
We would get kicked
Yeah.
out of areas. That's why each season we had to go to the docks. Because each community was like, you know what?
Season 2.
We
Yeah.
don't want you here.
Oh,
You're
you
stepping
got
on our
kicked out.
toes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask you this? And I'm gonna just keep it real because so you went on to do this. You have this awesome business that is blossoming now and going crazy. You don't often see that a lot with, especially spouses of professional athletes. A lot who do their own thing, but not like a lucrative business, right? So what made you? Are you just like driven to? You just love it. You just wanted to like.
I want to be able to take care of my husband. Like I really want to get to
Like
that
this
point.
right?
Like yeah. I mean, he's taken care of us
Uh-oh.
for so long.
Oh,
Like I want to be able to say, babe, what
Fest.
you want?
Aggie Fest. Let's go.
Stop.
No, I hear
That's
you.
really cool.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
I really would love. I mean, because my husband does so much for everyone, and he like no one ever thinks of him like like how I would love for them to think of him.
Yeah.
So that's like the reason why I do what I do because I still have a way to go to match his money. Don't get me wrong, I'm not making that kind of money, but I want to be able to help him out if he needs $5. Hey, babe, I got it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
She
that's
helped me
what
more than she can ever imagine.
I bet. I know. But isn't
my
that
gosh.
that's a really cool mindset? Seriously,
Yeah.
and I get that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next for you guys? I mean, so and it's we didn't really talk about. So you are.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Right
now?
before we started recording, you were like, "Hey, All Star Game's coming next year. I know you're going to be doing a lot with that." So
Yeah.
are you officially working with the Hornets?
No.
Got it.
He's
NBA.
an
NBA.
ambassador for the NBA.
Oh, wow.
So-
Okay.
Yep. So I serve as an ambassador for the NBA. We're in discussions with the Hornets in terms of trying to, do something with them, but we'll wait and see how that unfolds.
Sure.
But at the same time, here involved with my organization, my Always Believe Foundation, trying to make sure that we kind of give these kids an opportunity to be who they want to be and have some resources for them.
Yeah. Tell people who listening who aren't familiar with Always Believe. Will you explain kind of what you guys do?
Well, I Always Believe is the foundation organization, my nonprofit organization that me and my daughter Brittany kind of run. We have 4 years ago now. 4 years ago, we started this nonprofit. We adopted 3 schools. We had Harding, we had Philip O'Berry, and Reed Park Middle School, and we had like over 140 kids in the program. It was an after-school program. We did that for 3 years, and we felt like
Kind of providing alternatives, right, for kids who may not have somewhere to go after
Right.
school.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because we know that after school is that idle time
Mhm.
where kids don't, kind of get themselves into things that they don't need to be getting themselves
Mhm.
into.
And I would come in and I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would come in and teach nutrition and also cook for them because a lot
Oh
of
my
the
gosh.
kids
Yeah.
were not going home to meals.
right.
So
Right.
we make sure
Certainly
that
not
we did
healthy
that.
meals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we was able to do that, but then as years went on, we felt that also a kid last summer came to me and was telling me about his ambitions in terms of wanting to go to a vocal school, a vocational school. He had that vocational ambition in
Yeah.
terms of becoming a mechanic, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Smart
And there's
kid.
not many resources, for vocab type of students. So I kind of created a little scholarship program so we decided to take 10 kids, and we got them from East Mac High School, and we meet twice a week. We got a Skill to Thrive type of program that they come and we work on their tutoring. We have tutors come and work on their math and all their homework and so forth. We have community, they got to be involved in community service. We have a garden they got to maintain.
Really?
Oh, cool.
We got
Yeah.
trips set up for them. They go on types of shadow programs within their field. So it was something that we kind of feel good about these kids.
What a smart thing to
Yeah.
do too,
Yeah.
because a vocational training program. I mean, you'll always be able to find a job.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
not
Well,
every
who doesn't
child,
always do
right,
it?
not
Right.
every child is going to go to a university. And even Brittany, when she went to Wake Forest after she graduated, took her years before she was
Figure out what
able.
she wants to do.
Yeah.
This is
yeah.
a way that you can, get on the job training and be able to get a job right
Yes.
after school. They're almost
The
guaranteed.
skills that everybody needs.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yes,
all right,
exactly.
you made it pretty clear. You wish that I could fix cars, and the house.
I said he could too.
Laying it on real thick. Oh, she was up there. You were like, hey, he wants to be a mechanic. And he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and the kids, and while they go through the program, is also become certified.
Oh
So
wow.
when they become certified,
Oh
they
my
decide they
goodness,
want to continue it on.
That's so
Like,
smart.
I want to sign up for the program.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Watching them, I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you do
Oh,
that?
that's so
And,
cool.
the IT kids have so many resources, so much resources.
Yeah.
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 Out there, and a lot of vocational type of kids don't have that. So we also, and this is the early stage, possibly partnering with a Metropolitan Plumbing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
where
Yes.
They are really interested in bringing some kids in and realize that the base salary for a plumber is
Oh,
$100,000.
Right out of the gate.
I've heard
Yes.
that. Isn't that crazy? I mean, of course, there's. I would pay $1 bajillion for somebody to fix my toilet.
Think about it. It's black and white. There is no gray area.
Right.
You have to fix this.
Right.
Exactly.
You know
what I mean?
Exactly.
So, and kids don't understand that how much a plumber really makes.
Right.
You got these
And yeah.
myths
That's why I tell people mortgages.
30,
Comes to mortgages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kept secret in the world.
Yes, yes.
It makes you super cool at parties. How do you do?
It's the mortgages.
Put people in a serious debt.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So we typically end our podcast with a game of boys versus girls catchphrase. Are you familiar with catchphrase?
No, but this is going to be good.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
it
this is
will.
where you were wondering why I was building an alliance with Muggsy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because it's
I wanted to
boys
build
versus girls.
chemistry. Yeah. Boys versus girls. Here's the deal.
Hold
So
on.
we pass this.
I know, right?
Yeah, you're gonna need that.
Sure.
So you pass this around. You can say any word to describe the word on the screen except that word. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
We're not super strict.
And if I was gonna say, if you don't like the word, press next.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if when you come to our house and we play, we're way strict with the rules.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I tell people.
Good to know.
This is what I tell people every
We'll
time.
define.
You see the back? You see the back of this?
Oh my, dance?
That's Paige losing to your boy and spiking.
That was a home session. That was an in-home session.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You said that you put in batteries.
Oh.
Pop them in. Push them in.
I don't have.
Get the thing.
Here, what?
It's on.
Oh my.
Oh, that would have been a great
Hey-o.
edit session. All right, Kim,
Yes.
say stop.
Stop.
Places.
So it could be anything from.
She's like, what's a place? I'm blanking. Place.
Mexico.
Oh. All right, here we go. Ready?
Okay,
Here
so
we
always
go.
going first.
Marcy?
Go.
Okay.
Ready?
So you're he's giving the
So you press the big
You only
blue
get
button.
mine.
Okay.
Only, but when I'm done. Okay, the big blue button. Ready?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. The big blue button. Except where you start.
Red button. The big blue
Oh
button.
gosh. Opposite of west is the other side of the continent.
East.
Yep. So that word twice, and then in the middle is a small word. What are small words?
Say that again.
So small word.
Go next.
The
Small word.
what's a short word?
Go next.
Okay.
Because I'm confused.
Wow.
Oh, she say cat?
No.
Sure.
Wow. This is all right. So like if you've got this in your yard to keep things inside, like you get a dog, you want to put this up.
A fence.
Yes, that's the first part of it. The second part is like, what are the rods in between in the fence? Because he's already said it. Like, what's the
Oh, the poles.
Yes, put those together.
A pole fence.
Switch them around.
Fence pole.
Wow,
Okay.
those are horrible.
Okay, so.
Tell me.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Muggsy and Jake.
What happened?
Round one.
What
the
happened?
time is
That means we
out.
won.
That means
No, it
one.
doesn't. Just one round. We played to point of three. To 3
All right, so
points.
the press start.
So we want 1 point.
Okay, and I say everything but
Everything but the word.
Okay.
Describe it.
Yes.
Okay, on a cruise,
Cruise ship.
and
Boat.
you don't have directions.
Cruise director. Cruise
Map.
map.
You can't find your way, so you are.
Lost. Lost and found.
And
No,
you're at.
lost map. Map
And
lost.
you're on a cruise.
Water.
Lost.
At sea. Lost
There
at
you
sea.
go. Thank you.
Okay.
Pass big button. Pass it to Muggsy.
Oh, big button.
Big button. This
Hit the big button.
Next.
The big one. No, we didn't start. That's all right. We'll start over. The big button.
It's good. Because I was about to have a heart
Yeah.
attack.
All right.
No, go.
I hate this
Well,
game.
All right. Press the top. Press stop at the top.
Okay,
Ready?
sorry.
Yep. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Then we'll start
Which button?
over. Now you hit the start button at the top.
Yep. And
All
then
right,
give
here we go.
clues for the word you see.
Clues.
Skip it.
Top
Big
of the
button
mic.
if you hate it. Big button. if you
Yeah,
hate it.
big button.
The big button. Oh! It's the little button.
That's the little button.
Yes. Look at the bottom. Oh my gosh. All right. Small button to start. Small button to start. There you go. And all right.
This is great.
And then talk in the mic.
Big button if you hate it.
Yeah, I hate that.
Okay, push big.
All right, here we go.
Yep.
Everything but the word, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Where your kids live.
Where your kids live? Home. House. Home.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh!
Oh, wow.
Muggsy!
Oh, the place that you went to school is my blank. It's my it's
You
my
went town?
Yeah.
College?
I'm switching to another. This room is a mess. It is this animal.
Pig's pen.
Yes.
Okay, hey, okay.
All right. Okay. This is liquid, and it's like the sea. Like when you drink it, it's a glass of. You drink a glass of water. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
And then this thing swims in that.
A fish.
Yes. And so if it's jumping, not in, but
Out.
Good point. Good point.
fish out of water.
Now it's
Fish
time.
out of
This is-
water.
That's tough.
Good job.
All right.
That's
So
hard.
press
That's
start.
hard.
Press start.
Okay, so this is
1-1. Sorry, Muggsy.
Okay.
I blew it. I had one job.
just hit next.
Press
page.
next if you hate it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. You
Big
hit
button if
next.
you hate it.
Okay, on the train and we're crossing
Train tracks.
it's also called, there's a sign right there letting you know
No crossing.
that the
signal.
train is coming. It's a sign. Okay, next.
Oops, sorry.
Railroad crossing.
Oh.
Yes.
Big
okay,
button, big blue,
Big blue.
Okay, I went there on my birthday and they smoked big ganja, man.
Wow!
Yeah!
No! Come on, Muggsy. Hit it again if you hate it. Hit it again. I'm here. I'm right here.
I'm over here. Come. Hurry up.
What is?
Over there.
Hurry up.
No! No!
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no!
What? Come on!
He did it on
Are you joking?
Cheater boy.
How did you know over there?
I had one guess.
That's
He
it.
didn't
Well,
say
yes.
anything.
By the way, you were
I
wondering.
mean, that's what it is.
I see why I would.
You were
swear to my
wondering.
He
goodness.
just finished
You were
the
wondering why I was bonding with him earlier.
Yes.
It was for that moment.
Where the kids live?
You guys want to have a moment?
Where the kids live.
Listen, Jeff.
Oh.
What's?
This is great.
I was like, and then part of the clue, we're all like, he's over, he's here.
I'm
Bugs
like,
is like,
what?
I'm giving my clue, people.
Right, I'm like, oh, this is
Because
gonna
he
be a long
knows
car
how to
ride
visit.
home.
Yeah, it is.
Right, I'm
Yeah,
not
it
gonna
is.
like this.
Over there.
I know.
Can I call it Uber?
Uh-huh.
man.
We'll give you a ride. You can come back and have see June.
Yes, June.
You can do whatever you want. This
Bugs is.
every time it's my favorite
I
episode.
know. This was super fun.
Gosh, love you guys. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
honest.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for being
having us.
real.
I
Thank you for the
apologize for being
background.
late.
No, man.
You made up for it big time.
Woo, woo.
Yes. Thank you, seriously, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
the
Appreciate
invite. We really appreciate the invite. Thanks.
You can still
All right. Bye, Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.